Hey guys, I'm back with another candle review, and this time around it's for the 18-ounce Haunted Woods candle from HomeWorx by Harry Slatkin. This was available originally last Halloween with a matching pedestal of like a graveyard, and you got the candle with it as well, and I believe it is still available online and may be available again in other places for this year, so I wanted to do a review of this since I was burning it. So yes, the notes on this read dark woods, dark plum, black rose, and amber. So this is quite a bit of a strange fragrance. I do have to say it's kind of hard to describe it, but the best way I can describe it would be a spicy oriental fragrance, and it has definite spiciness to it. It's kind of like if you mix the Old Spice cologne with a little bit of like rose and fruits, that's what it smells like. It's like fruity, but also floral, but still woodsy and cologne, and still very spicy all at the same time. It's kind of like a mystery fragrance. Yeah, it's just very strange or weird, but let me do my best to describe it. So yeah, there's definitely spiciness to it. There is a almost like a cinnamon spice or like a mulling spices feel to it. I definitely get like a mulling spices feel to it. That it's kind of like a like cidery type of fragrance is what the spiciness is equated to, and with the mulling spices there's a little bit of like a fruitiness that comes from the plum as well as an apple that gives it a spicy juiciness. So think of like a mulled cider type of fragrance is what I get with the spiciness. That is then combined with a slightly woodsy component, but think of woodsy in like a incensey and almost even like a frankincense type of way that gives it a distinct like a frankincense and myrrh type of fragrance. Think of the, what was it, the Thankful fragrance from Bath & Body Works Aromatherapy. That was like the gold shower gel that was frankincense and myrrh. That type of woodsiness that kind of smells like that definitely comes to mind. And it does give it like slightly a haunted or woodsy, like late fall, October, November feel to it. So you get that like sort of frankincense, incensey, woodsy feel mixed with those mulling spices and that like sort of fruity cider type fragrance. And then what you get is a slightly floral fragrance mixed with the sort of like traditional cologne type fragrance that you would have got from the woodsy notes. And it's like a floral that's not overly powdery or perfumey in a traditional type of like woman's fragrance kind of way, but there is a slight rose floral note in there that is best equated to like the Into the Night candle from Bath and Body Works, but nowhere near as sweet or even as floral as Into the Night, but a similar dark rose fragrance is definitely in there. It's not a powdery, bright, fresh cut, dewy rose by any means, because obviously this is not a spring fragrance, but it's more of a fall fragrance. So it's not a like that type of springtime, like robust rose. It's more like a dark, dry rose is what I get from it. Think of like those kind of like rose plus wood blends that you get, or like rose smoky blends, or like a fireside rose type of fragrance. That type of hint of a sweet, but still dry and darker rose fragrance is kind of chilling in the background. And so you mix that with the spicy sort of mulling spices, kind of mulled cider fragrance, mixed with the woodsiness of the like sort of incensey, frankincense, and myrrh fragrance. And then it's just like all combined together in like this strange concoction of like a Old Spice men's fragrance, but still a little bit floral, it's still a little bit fruity, and then still very much spicy. I would say there's definitely a like amber component in there as well, mixed with a little bit of citrus that is a lot of times in like fine fragrance or men's fragrances as well. I would say there's definitely a little bit of a citrus in there in the way of like maybe even like a orange, like a spiced orange, or even a little bit of bergamot as in a men's cologne kind of way is in there as well. So there's a lot of things going on in this fragrance that is kind of hard to describe, but I think Old Spice meets spicy fruit meets a little bit of floral rose is the best way I can describe it. It kind of, I guess, smells spooky in the way that it's very mysterious and strange, but it's not at all smoky at all. It's not like a fireside fragrance, so don't think of that. Like Haunted Woods, you might think like a pumpkin woods type of fragrance where it's like smoky or firesidey or, you know, that type of variety. Not at all like that. It's not a gourmand in the way that like a pumpkin fragrance is. It's not like marshmallow fireside, nothing at all like that. It's more like a conceptual, personal fragrance, but there's still quite a bit of like a mulling spices fruit note in there that still kind of takes it away from being a fine fragrance. that it's just like this weird like mashup of fragrances. And that is what haunted would smell like. I can't say it's a repurchase by any means. I don't really like look forward to burning it, but it's here and it exists, so we're gonna review it as it is. I guess it's mysterious or spooky. That's the I guess the best way I can say that. I don't even know if I can say it's spooky because it's not traditionally dirty or smoky. So mysterious, bizarre, strange is the best way to describe it. It's not a bad fragrance. It's very complex. There's a lot of things going on, so it's not that it's an offensive fragrance by any means, but it's just not anything that I would normally gravitate towards. And it's not really like mass appeal in the way that a gourmand fragrance is. So that's probably enough to be said about Haunted Woods, and let me go into the performance. As for the performance, this is a second day burn. I just haven't burned this one too much, and it's kind of like I guess a Halloween candle, so I don't really plan on burning it too much anytime soon either, so I'm just like filming it while it's here on its second day burn. But it's doing fine. The throw on this fragrance is definitely a medium plus. I can actually smell it, so we're good to go there. You can smell it in an open concept area around like a 6 to a 7, and you can smell it similarly in a smaller bedroom, so we're good to go on the throw because I can actually smell it, and it's definitely in like a medium plus range, so we're good to go there. As for the performance of the actual wicks and the candles, this is indeed another made in Vietnam candle, and it has 4 wicks. This one, it took a little bit long to pull out the first time around. I think it's because it has a really dark, deep blue wax on it, and as I've said before, a lot of times when there's a lot of darker dye in candles, they kind of have to wick up to make sure that the dye doesn't clog the wicks too much. So the first burn, it did take like a good 3 hours to pull out completely, and then on the second burn, it took about 2.5 hours to pull out completely, and we're at 3.5 hours here, and it has pulled out totally. But it's burning very hot and viciously now. You can see those flames are huge. Definitely don't burn this for more than 2.5 to 3 hours, even though it takes that long to pull out. So it's a very fine line between having it pull it out and then not blowing it out soon enough. But the reason with this one is because it makes this huge mushroom tops, as you can see there, and the wicks are becoming very heavy and they're starting to lean. So when I blew this candle out after filming it, and actually the candle wicks started to lean into the wax pull and do this sort of like drowning thing and the leaning in thing that these HomeWorx candles kind of do. So watch out for that because the mushroom tops get so heavy that they start to like drown and become too heavy for themselves to be upright. So be very careful because if then you get a wax pool that's very, very deep, then it might like totally just submerge into the wax pool and then you can't light it anymore and you kind of like fish the wick out. So be careful of that. So yeah, I wouldn't say more than 3 hours because then this particular one does tend to do the leaning thing and it can become very dangerous, especially if it gets too close to the edge of the glass or if it drowns completely. So after 3 hours, blow it out. Make sure you take those mushroom tops off and then you're good to go. These also tend to soot a bit if you have it going for longer than 3 to 4 hours, so keep that in mind as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the performance on this. Overall, this was indeed a purchase, but I don't think I would repurchase it. It's also hard to kind of recommend because it comes with the pedestal online, and that's the only way you can purchase it. And it's like, I don't know, $70 after it's all said and done. So it's kind of tough. Hopefully, it's available maybe standalone on the HomeWorx website or somewhere else. So you can just buy the candle itself if you don't want the honkin' pedestal with it. And obviously, if you want to buy backups of it, then you'll have to continue buying the pedestal, but I guess we have to sell it on Mercari, and it's just a whole ordeal, so it's kind of hard to recommend this. As fragrance alone, I wouldn't repurchase it. It's kind of weird or strange, but it's different and unique, I guess, and mysterious. But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all I can say about this Haunted Woods candle, and let me know if you try this one out yourself. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.